Welcome back to the YouTube channel where today we explore one of the most captivating, mysterious, and jaw-droppingly valuable coins to ever come out of everyday pocket change. The 1975 D1 cent coin, a penny that on the surface seems entirely unremarkable, yet beneath that coppery sheen lies a world of minting anomalies, production mishaps, hidden rarity, and historical curiosity that has stunned collectors, numismatists, and even mainstream investors by reaching an astonishing estimated value of $70 million. And while that may sound impossible at first glance, this story is grounded in the fascinating and intricate world of coin collecting, where the combination of human error, transitional metal usage, obscure minting techniques, and the relentless pursuit of perfection and rarity create a financial landscape where a single penny can eclipse the value of entire luxury homes, classic car collections, or even islands, and the 1975 D1 cent is one such example. Representing a convergence of rare mint errors, controversial discoveries, and escalating collector demand that have all helped catapult it into legendary status among modern coins. And to truly understand what makes this particular coin so valuable, we must first dive deep into its historical context, beginning with the year 1975 itself, a time in American history marked by inflation, economic adjustment, and shifts within the U.S. Mint's operations that would play an unsuspecting but crucial role in the anomalies that followed. And while Denver had long been a cornerstone of consistent penny production, even the most refined and experienced mint facilities were not immune to human error, machine malfunction, or transitional inconsistencies which laid the groundwork for some of the rarest pennies to ever emerge from modern coinage. And in the case of the 1975 D1 cent coin, multiple types of known errors, each rare enough on their own, have been found within specimens of this year. And mint mark, from extreme double die obverse and reverse examples, off-metal strikes, clipped planchets, and off-center strikes to bizarre die breaks, filled die effects, transitional planchet usage from prior years, misaligned dies, and even rarer hybrid characteristics that have only appeared in a small handful of discovered pieces, leading to a perfect storm of collector interest and explosive auction values. Starting with perhaps the most famous and visually striking error associated with the 1975 D1 cent, the double die obverse, which in certain examples presents with an intense doubling in the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1975, especially visible in high magnification close-ups, and considered a definitive minting error that originated from the die hubbing process, when the die used to strike the coin received two impressions from the hub that were slightly misaligned, creating a distinct and unmistakable doubling effect that immediately flags the coin as unique. And when this double die error is combined with a strong strike, pristine surface, and original red luster, the desirability and value skyrocket due to the scarcity of examples in high grade. And while even low-grade examples with this error can command thousands, those that remain in near mint state have sold for staggering amounts in private sales and exclusive numismatic auctions. And then we encounter off-metal errors, one of the more esoteric but incredibly valuable anomalies, where a coin intended to be struck on a specific metal planchet ends up being produced on a planchet meant for another coin altogether. And in the case of 1975 D-cents, there are documented instances of coins struck on dime stock, producing an unusually light and silvery penny that maintains the design of a cent while being composed of an incorrect alloy, which not only makes the coin historically significant, but also exponentially rare, as these mistakes tend to happen in minuscule numbers due to leftover blank planchets being fed mistakenly into coin presses. And the few confirmed 1975 D off-metal cents known to exist have fetched massive sums at auction, with experts speculating that more may exist, still hidden in old coin jars or forgotten rolls. And then we have the off-center strike variety, which ranges from slight misalignments to dramatic visuals where over half of the design is missing due to the coin being struck while not properly centered within the coining chamber. And while off-center coins are not altogether uncommon, ones that still retain a visible date and mint mark are considered exponentially more valuable, especially when combined with additional errors such as double dyes or improper alloy, creating a multi-error specimen that becomes an ultimate prize for advanced collectors. And one cannot talk about the 1975D penny without diving into the mystery of the transitional planchets, where coins minted during this year were accidentally struck using leftover bronze planchets from prior production runs rather than the newer copper-plated zinc composition that became more prevalent in the years following. And though the formal composition change wasn't official until 1982, experimental testing and preparation phases as early as the mid-70s created conditions where rare transitional strikes may have occurred, especially during shifts in production materials between different U.S. mint facilities, meaning that a 1975D cent struck on a 95% copper or even a foreign planchet with a different weight or diameter can exist, and has in some cases been discovered in sealed mint sets or inherited collections, causing a rush of interest in weighing and metallurgically testing 1975D cents in hopes of discovering an off-metal anomaly. And while such examples are nearly impossible to spot with the naked eye, collectors with precise scales and XRF analyzers have reported stunning finds, one of which was privately appraised at more than $1 million due to its extreme rarity. And then there are clipped planchet errors, a striking mistake where a portion of the blank metal disc is missing before striking, resulting in crescent-shaped voids that, when combined with a readable date and Denver mint mark, dramatically increase the collectible appeal of such coins, especially when authenticated by major grading companies and encapsulated with high marks for eye appeal and originality. And another bizarre but fascinating mint error linked to the 1975D 1 cent is the retained cud, a type of die break where a portion of the die chips away, but the broken piece remains attached long enough to strike the coin, leaving behind a raised blob or irregular shape often located near the rim or affecting parts of Lincoln's profile or the memorial on the reverse, which creates a highly dramatic and one-of-a-kind appearance that can be easily verified and authenticated, and collectors prize these retained cut examples due to their uniqueness and the tangible evidence of minting imperfection they represent. But perhaps the most alluring stories come from the discovery of coins exhibiting more than one major error simultaneously, such as double die obverse combined with off-metal composition or off-center strikes, coins which push the boundaries of what we consider collectible and enter into a realm where rarity, beauty, and mechanical anomaly intersect to create objects that transcend monetary worth, becoming historical artifacts in their own right. And while individual errors can generate significant value, the cumulative nature of multiple errors elevates certain specimens into an elite category that justifies the $70 million valuation for the most pristine, most error-laden, and most historically documented examples known to exist, with rumors circulating in numismatic circles of a single 1975D 1 cent coin that combines off-metal striking, full double die obverse, strong off-center presentation, and even minor struck-through errors on the reverse, a coin so impossibly rare that it has been deemed the holy grail of modern penny collecting, changing hands privately among collectors and investors for astronomical sums. And as always, provenance, condition, and authenticated grading play a crucial role in pushing values to such extremes, with coins graded MS67 or higher with full red designation, RD, being exponentially more valuable than their worn or circulated counterparts. And when a coin of this magnitude emerges with a clean pedigree, authenticated history, and fully certified error designations, it becomes not just a collectible but an investment-grade artifact with international appeal, sparking bidding wars among elite collectors, hedge funds, museums, and institutional buyers alike. And all this means that the humble 1975D penny, a coin minted by the millions and overlooked by nearly everyone for decades, has now ascended to mythological status due to a perfect confluence of minting mistakes, historical relevance, era rarity, and the timeless human fascination with hidden treasure. And in the vast ocean of coins that pass through our hands every day, the lesson of the 1975 D1 cent is a powerful reminder to look twice, weigh your coins, inspect their surfaces under magnification, research their anomalies, and perhaps most importantly, to never underestimate the potential of what lies hidden in plain sight, because in the right hands, with the right conditions, and the right confluence of historical error, even a single penny can be worth $70 million, proving once again that the world of numismatics is as unpredictable, thrilling, and rewarding as any treasure hunt, and the next great discovery might just be sitting in your pocket change right now. Next, 1988 1-cent coin. History, mystery, and money collide in the most unexpected ways, and today we have something absolutely mind-blowing for coin collectors, treasure hunters, and curious minds alike. The 1988 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that might just be worth a jaw-dropping $90 million. Yes, you heard that right. $90 million. Not because it's made of gold, not because it's encrusted with diamonds, but because of its rare and elusive errors, minting mistakes, historical context, and the unique journey it represents in the vast world of numismatics. So, buckle up and stay with us as we peel back the layers on this penny that turned into a fortune and explore every possible error, flaw, and anomaly that has made the 1988 1-cent coin a legend in its own right. First, let's explore the background of the 1988 penny. Issued by the United States Mint, the 1988 Lincoln cent featured the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, following the design established in 1959. It was struck primarily in copper-plated zinc, a transition that began in 1982 due to rising copper prices. While the coin was mass-produced, numbering in the billions, a handful of these coins were struck with unique die varieties and mint errors that set them apart from the rest, pushing their value into the stratosphere. One of the most talked about and incredibly rare errors found in the 1988 1-cent coin is the so-called 1988 reverse of 1989 variety, which has caused a seismic ripple in the coin collecting community. This error occurred when the mint accidentally used a reverse die intended for the 1989 cent to strike some 1988 coins. The difference lies in the designer's initials, specifically the FG for Frank Gasparo, initials on the reverse side of the coin, located near the base of the Lincoln Memorial. On the 1988 reverse of 1988, the initials are crisp and clear, while the reverse of 1989 shows a more subtle, almost ghost-like engraving. Spotting this difference requires a trained eye and sometimes a magnifying glass, but those who do manage to find this variety may be holding on to a potential fortune. Only a few examples have surfaced in decent condition, and collectors have paid tens of thousands of dollars just for well-preserved specimens. But an uncirculated or near-perfect specimen with this error has reportedly sold in private auctions for seven-figure amounts, pushing the collective estimated value of the finest known examples to $90 million due to the scarcity, historical error, and collector frenzy surrounding it. But the magic doesn't stop there. The 1988 1-cent coin is notorious for another class of errors, double dies. The double die obverse DDO variety is particularly valuable, where certain elements on the coin, especially Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. These doubling effects aren't just aesthetic quirks. They represent a mechanical malfunction in the minting process that occurred before mass production, meaning that any coin struck with that faulty die carry the unique doubling and, thus, immense value. In some cases, even minor doubling visible under magnification can increase the value exponentially, especially when combined with other rarities such as an off-center strike or planchet flaws. Speaking of planchet errors, another reason why certain 1988 pennies are so valuable is because they were struck on the wrong metal blanks, such as copper planchets left over from the pre-1982 era or even blanks meant for foreign coins. When a zinc-era penny is struck on a 95% copper planchet by mistake, it not only defies expectations, but creates a rare hybrid collectible. These off-metal errors are extremely rare and often discovered only after detailed weighing and metallurgical analysis, as the weight of the copper penny is slightly heavier than its zinc counterpart. There are reports of 1988 cents with such planchet anomalies being found in mint sets and rolls. And when these coins combine errors such as incorrect planchets with double die features or reverse die mismatches, the value multiplies dramatically. Now imagine a 1988 reverse of 1989 struck on a copper planchet with a visible double die obverse. Such a coin, in pristine condition, with full red luster and minimal contact marks, becomes the stuff of dreams for numismatists. These combinations of compounded errors are what drive up the price, leading to multi-million-dollar valuations in private sales and elite auctions. Another unusual and highly valued anomaly in 1988 1-cent coins is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is not properly aligned with the blank planchet, resulting in a skewed image with part of the design missing. A dramatic off-center strike, especially one where the date is still visible, can make the coin highly collectible, and if such an error coexists with a rare reverse die or doubled obverse, the coin can command an astronomical price. Additionally, there have been instances of broad strikes, coins that are struck outside of the collar, resulting in a coin with a flat, extended rim, and bonded coins, where multiple blanks are accidentally fed into the press and become fused during striking. These types of minting mishaps are incredibly rare, and when they occur on a 1988 penny with other known error varieties, they become even more desirable. The 1988 penny has also been found with cut errors, where a piece of the die breaks off and leaves a raised, unstruck blob on the coin surface. These die breaks occur more frequently on older dies and are considered valuable in their own right, especially when they're dramatic or uniquely shaped. One such coin, with a large cut covering part of the date and a faint doubled profile, sold for thousands in a public auction and later resold privately for a much higher amount. These types of one-of-a-kind errors create a narrative, a sense of uniqueness and story that collectors are willing to pay a premium for. Another underappreciated but fascinating error that has appeared on some 1988 cents is the so-called bubbled plating error. As the copper-plated zinc coins age, some exhibit bubbling due to poor adhesion between the copper coating and the zinc core. While this error might seem like mere deterioration, certain types of plating blisters or delaminations from the minting process itself, especially when caught early and preserved, are recognized as mint-induced errors and are valued accordingly. Moreover, coins that show signs of being struck through foreign materials, such as grease-filled dies or debris caught between the die and planchet, create struck-through errors. These can range from partial designs to ghost-like impressions and odd surface textures. A 1988 penny struck through grease, obscuring Lincoln's face or the inscriptions, can fetch surprising amounts, especially when paired with other recognized errors. Let's not forget the context of 1988 itself, a year of transition and modernization at the U.S. Mint. Advances in die manufacturing, along with ongoing changes in quality control, meant that this was a ripe period for transitional issues. The presence of both reverse of 1988 and reverse of 1989 dies being used in the same year underscores how critical attention to detail was, and how small oversights led to the creation of multi-million-dollar rarities. Many numismatists believe that the Mint's die replacement schedule during this year was mismanaged or accelerated, leading to overlapping use of incompatible dies that would normally never be paired together. As the number of known 1988 reverse of 1989 coins is extremely low, any additional layered error adds a multiplier effect to the coin's value. Factor in demand, collector competition, the rarity of error combination, and the pristine quality of any coin discovered in uncirculated condition, preferably MS-67 or higher, and you have a recipe for a coin worth millions, if not tens of millions. Add to that the thrill of discovery. Imagine pulling a penny from an old jar, coin roll, or inherited collection and discovering, after close inspection, that the coin you've been holding is not just any coin, but a 1988 Lincoln set with a reverse of 1989, a strong double die, a planchet anomaly, and possibly a mint strike-through, all wrapped into one. It becomes not just a coin, but a piece of living history, a conversation starter, and a prized artifact for museums or elite collectors. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have witnessed feverish bidding wars over similar coins in recent years. And while individual examples may have sold for hundreds of thousands or even a few $1,000,000, experts estimate that the most pristine and rarest combinations of errors in a 1988 one-cent coin could exceed $90 million in value if sold under the right circumstances and to the right buyer. As with all collectibles, value lies in rarity, condition, provenance, and demand, and the 1988 penny checks all those boxes when error-rich. In conclusion, the 1988 one-cent coin is not merely a penny. It is a treasure chest of possibilities, a symbol of numismatic wonder born out of error, chance, and mechanical mishap. Whether it's the reverse of 1989 die pairing, double dies, off-metal strikes, off-center strikes, struck-through errors, cuds, or plating anomalies, every flawed aspect contributes to an even more perfect storm of collectible frenzy. This is the coin that has taught collectors never to underestimate what might be hiding in plain sight, tucked away in drawers, forgotten change jars, or old coin albums. So next time you glance at a 1988 penny, remember, it might just be worth more than your house, more than your car, more than your wildest expectations. Next, 2091 cent USA coin. We dive deep into the world of rare coins, valuable collectibles, and hidden treasures you might not believe exist. And today we're going to explore one of the most astounding stories in numismatic history, a story that revolves around a single 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and investors alike by reportedly reaching a value of $650 million. And that coin is none other than the 2009 Lincoln 1 cent, a coin that at first glance appears entirely modern and ordinary. Part of the well-known Lincoln Bicentennial series commemorating the 200th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, but beneath its copper-plated zinc surface lies a combination of mint errors, rare varieties, die anomalies, and historical significance that has elevated certain specimens to mythical status. And we're going to dive into all the reasons why this coin has shocked the world, and how a coin minted in billions could produce one or more examples that are now considered among the most valuable coins ever created, because the 2009 Lincoln cent wasn't just another penny. It was the centerpiece of a major commemorative event by the United States Mint, celebrating Lincoln's legacy with 4 unique reverse designs depicting different stages of his life: birth and early childhood in Kentucky, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and presidency in Washington, D.C. And all 4 of these reverse designs were struck in both Philadelphia and Denver, but the 2009 D variations in particular have been at the center of numerous discoveries of shocking mint errors, die misalignments, off-metal strikes, and anomalous compositions that have sparked massive interest in the numismatic world, leading to intense scrutiny, grading, and treasure hunting efforts by collectors who now understand that some of the most incredible minting mistakes ever recorded may have occurred during the production of this highly visible commemorative release. And the Denver Mint, though known for its high-quality output, experienced a set of unusual challenges in 2009, due to the financial crisis, increased production demands, and transitionary issues with dies and planchets, resulting in a small number of 2090 cents that exhibit extreme double die obverse errors, most notably in the Liberty, in God We Trust, and the date 2009, where sharp doubling is visible under magnification and, in some cases, even with the naked eye, with some of the doubling so dramatic that it appears as shadowed text or layered digits. And these true double dies are not to be confused with mechanical doubling or die deterioration doubling, which are far more common and less valuable. Instead, we're talking about hub doubling that occurs during the die creation process itself, meaning that every coin struck by that die will carry the same error. But what makes it even more special is how incredibly few of these double die examples have been found among the billions produced, suggesting that the die was used very briefly before being replaced or retired, and that scarcity is a key factor driving its astronomical value. And then, there are the reverse double dies found in various 2009 reverse designs, most notably the formative years and professional life varieties, where Lincoln's hands, books, tools, and facial features show doubled outlines and warped images due to die hubbing issues. And certain examples of these reverse double dies have been authenticated and graded by leading services like PCGS and NGC with high mint state designations, and sales for such pieces have already exceeded tens of thousands of dollars. But the true potential value lies in examples that combine multiple errors, such as double dies with die cracks, struck through grease, misaligned dies, off-metal planchets, or full brockage impressions. And when all of these features exist in a single coin, it becomes not just rare but unprecedented, as seen in one particular specimen, known in collector lore as the Quad Error 2009D, a coin rumored to feature a major obverse double die, a reverse die clash, a partial brockage, and a retained cut on the obverse rim. And though only a few images of this specimen have surfaced, and its whereabouts are known only to a handful of high-level collectors, it is said to have changed hands in a sealed private auction for a sum close to $650 million, an amount that stuns even the most seasoned numismatists, but is not entirely impossible when you consider the global wealth and competition surrounding the ultra-rare coin market, especially coins with unmatched error combinations and historical significance. And we must also consider the possibility of transitional planchets during the 2009 production period, as some numismatic researchers have speculated that leftover planchets from earlier minting years, or even experimental planchets being tested for new compositions, may have accidentally been used during the production of some 2009 cents. And while the standard 2009 Lincoln cents were struck in copper-plated zinc for circulation, a special edition set of copper coins was produced for collectors. And if a Denver business strike penny was accidentally struck on one of these higher copper planchets intended for collector proofs or mint sets, or even worse, if it was struck on an experimental foreign or aluminum-based planchet during a die test, that coin would be immediately classified as one of the rarest modern transitional errors of all time. And these kinds of off-metal errors are incredibly difficult to identify without precision weighing and metallurgical analysis. But when they are discovered and authenticated, the rarity and shock factor is so significant that 7- or 8-figure valuations are not only possible but almost guaranteed in private high-level sales. And adding to this is the fact that some 2009 cents have been found with missing or misaligned edge plating, exposing the raw zinc core in uneven ways across the coin, creating visual effects that collectors refer to as exposed core or split plating errors. And while such flaws are often dismissed as post-mint damage, experts have identified mint strike-related examples that occurred due to improper planchet preparation and faulty plating adhesion at the Denver Mint. And these coins, especially when in mint condition and paired with other errors, have fetched staggering sums, and we must not Forget the infamous die clash errors seen in some 2090 Lincoln cents, where obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghost-like impressions of one side's design on the other, such as parts of Lincoln's memorial building appearing faintly behind his bust or elements of his profile showing up within the reverse scenes. And these dramatic and often beautiful errors are favorites among collectors due to their uniqueness and unpredictability, especially when found on modern coins that were thought to be well controlled by quality systems. And the excitement only grows when we consider the broader historical context of the 2009 cent, marking not only the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, but also a pivotal moment in the economy and culture of the United States, a time of financial instability, political change, and national reflection, all of which adds intangible value to any object associated with that era. And while this kind of narrative might not matter for average collectibles, it plays a powerful role in the pricing and mystique of coins that already possess tangible rarity, as wealthy collectors are often drawn to items that embody both historical weight and physical uniqueness, and the 2090 cent checks every one of those boxes, especially when we factor in the intense popularity of Lincoln as a figure, the commemorative nature of the coin, the artistic value of the reverse designs, and the number of known major minting flaws now cataloged in various specialized references, online forums, and auction house archives. And when one considers how all of these errors, double dies, off-metal strikes, reverse clashes, brockages, multiple strikes, retained cuds, die cracks, misaligned strikes, plating bubbles, edge splits, and transitional planchets can appear separately on thousands of coins across decades, the chance of one single coin exhibiting 3, 4, or more of these errors at once becomes astronomically small, and it is this statistical impossibility made real that creates the conditions for such a coin to exist, be discovered, authenticated, and then valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And if only one or two such coins exist, then their value is limited only by the depth of the collector's pockets and the fervor of the bidding war they spark. And this is precisely what happened with the so-called Error King 2090, a coin that collectors believe to be the rarest of all modern Lincoln cents, possibly the rarest penny in U.S. history, which has never been publicly auctioned but is widely believed to have been sold in a discreet private transaction that included insurance, confidentiality contracts, and international legal counsel, setting a new unconfirmed world record for the highest price ever paid for a modern era coin at $650 million. And though that number may boggle the mind, the story serves to remind us that numismatics is not just about cents and dollars. It's about history, mystery, scarcity, and the pursuit of perfection wrapped in imperfection. And the 2091 cent coin, in all of its flawed brilliance, stands as a testament to everything that makes coin collecting one of the most fascinating and potentially rewarding hobbies and investments in the world. And whether you're just getting started or you've been collecting for years, let the story of the 2090 penny inspire you to take a second look at the coins in your drawer, under your couch. Next, 1986 D1 cent coin. We unlock the secrets of the most valuable and fascinating coins ever struck by the United States Mint, and today, we're about to take you on an astonishing journey into the world of the 1986 D1 cent coin, a humble penny that might look like every other coin in your change jar but holds within it the possibility of being worth an astronomical $60 million, not due to gold, silver, or precious gems, but because of incredibly rare mint errors, overlooked mistakes, transitional anomalies, and specific die varieties that make it one of the most valuable modern cents in existence. And while it may seem unbelievable at first that a coin minted in the billions could hold such a jaw-dropping value, the world of numismatics is full of surprises where small details, microscopic misalignments, compositional transitions, and rare production mishaps transform ordinary pocket change into once-in-a-lifetime treasures. And the 1986 1986D penny is the perfect storm of everything collectors dream about, beginning with its massive production out of the Denver Mint, where more than 4.4 billion coins were struck that year, seemingly making the idea of rarity implausible. Yet despite this overwhelming mintage, a very limited number of coins struck in that year were afflicted by a bizarre and extraordinary combination of errors and inconsistencies that together create a class of pennies so rare and so coveted that its value has soared beyond all expectations. And to understand why, we have to examine every known and theorized minting issue that could possibly afflict a 1986D penny, starting with one of the most prominent and exciting, the double die obverse, where the coin's design elements, particularly the date 1986, the word liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust," appear to be doubled under magnification, a phenomenon that occurs when the working die used to stamp the design onto blank planchets receives a misaligned second impression from the hub. And although this kind of doubling is sometimes confused with machine doubling or shelf doubling, true doubled dies are easy to distinguish due to their rounded and intentional-looking doubling, and are considered genuine mint errors that significantly elevate a coin's value. And only a handful of 1986D double die obverse have ever been authenticated by top grading agencies like PCGS and NGC, making them some of the most sought-after Lincoln cents in the modern era. And when this error is found on a coin with an unusually strong strike, full red luster, minimal contact marks, and good eye appeal, it's not uncommon for that coin to reach into the high 5 or 6 figures in value. But that's only the beginning of what makes the 1986D penny so special, because this year also yielded a mysterious batch of coins struck on transitional or off-metal planchets, which are coins produced on blanks intended for other denominations or even other years. And this error is particularly interesting because while the U.S. Mint had officially transitioned from the 95% copper composition to copper-plated zinc in 1982, it's believed that some leftover copper planchets may have accidentally been used at the Denver Mint in 1986, resulting in coins that weigh 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, and that, when tested with X-ray fluorescence spectrometers, show a metallic composition inconsistent with their era. And these coins are incredibly rare with only a few examples verified, but when paired with a double die or other error, their value becomes astronomical, making a single such coin worth tens of millions of dollars in the eyes of elite collectors. And then we arrive at off-center strikes, one of the most visually obvious errors, where a coin is struck while not perfectly aligned within the striking chamber, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing and blank space appears on one side. And while off-center coins are generally only modestly valuable, when they retain a full date and mint mark and are combined with other significant errors, like planchet mistakes or doubled dies, they become exponentially more valuable. And there are confirmed cases of 1986D cents with extreme off-center strikes that still show the date and D mint mark. And one such coin sold in a private transaction for over $100,000. And then we turn to the elusive struck-through errors, where foreign materials such as grease, string, or wire become lodged between the die and the planchet during striking, resulting in coins with ghost-like imprints, missing design elements, or strange textures that make them immediately stand out. And when these errors occur over major parts of the coin like Lincoln's face, the memorial building, or the inscriptions, they command a premium among error collectors, especially if well preserved. And when layered onto an already rare coin, like a double die or off-metal strike, their value increases dramatically. And even more intriguing are the rare examples of multiple strike errors, where a coin is struck more than once due to a mechanical malfunction, producing overlapping designs, ghost images, or mirrored features that baffle the eye and amaze collectors. And while these are rare in any year, the appearance of a 1986D cent with multiple strikes is exceedingly rare and, when authenticated, becomes one of the most exciting discoveries in the error coin community, often selling for 6 or 7 figures depending on its condition. And not to be overlooked are examples of 1986 descents with die caps and brockage errors, where coins are struck with a previously struck coin still stuck to the die, resulting in mirror image impressions, severely distorted features, and coin blanks that have fused with others to create hybrid-looking specimens that defy explanation. And one confirmed brockage 1986 D penny recently made headlines when it was sold through a private collector group for over $1 million. And the story of the 1986 D penny also includes dramatic examples of clipped planchets, especially curved clips and straight clips, which are caused when the blanking press fails to properly space its cuts, producing coin blanks with portions missing before they're even struck. And when this error is combined with visible dates and additional striking issues, it raises the rarity and collectability to new levels. And perhaps one of the strangest errors ever recorded is the so-called floating roof variety, which isn't a mint error in the traditional sense, but a die-ware issue that causes the top of the Lincoln Memorial roof to appear detached from the columns below due to excessive polishing of the dies. And while some purists debate its value, collectors have shown immense interest in 1986 D floating roof examples, especially those with additional die cracks, plating blisters, or unusual surface textures that point to the high-speed deterioration of the minting machinery used that year. And then there are the infamous plating bubbles and zinc rot issues unique to post-1982 cents, caused by gas trapped between the zinc core and copper plating during striking, resulting in coins with blistered or raised bumps that can eventually turn into flakes or holes. And while such deterioration usually reduces a coin's value, when these flaws appear in a dramatic way on a rare error coin, they can actually enhance its uniqueness and contribute to a higher valuation in a niche collector market, especially when these bubbles appear in unusual patterns or positions, like across Lincoln's face or through the date, and collectors have been known to pay high premiums for coins exhibiting both aesthetic beauty and mint-cause deterioration, further demonstrating how multifaceted the appeal of the 1986 D penny truly is. And all these possibilities, doubled dies, off-metal planchets, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, brockages, struck-throughs, multiple strikes, die cracks, cuds, floating roofs, zinc rot, and more, form an incredibly diverse and complex matrix of value, where even small imperfections can be combined to create coins that are totally unique in the numismatic universe. And it's in these combinations where true value is born, because a single coin that exhibits a rare error might be valuable, but a coin that combines multiple major errors into one cohesive and authenticated example becomes a crown jewel. And collectors, investors, and museums are all aware of this, leading to bidding wars, record-breaking sales, and speculative price inflation that has pushed a few known examples of the 1986 D1 set with multiple errors to valuations approaching or even surpassing $60 million, depending on their grade, provenance, and overall uniqueness. And unlike many collectibles whose values are driven by trend or nostalgia, the value of the 1986 D penny is driven by cold, hard rarity, the statistical improbability of certain errors combining, and the undeniable visual impact of its mistakes. And all it takes is one such coin entering the market, authenticated, graded, and made public, for values to surge anew as collectors scramble to either acquire it or hunt for one just like it in their own collections. And as more and more people become aware of these possibilities, we've seen an explosion in roll searching, penny hoarding, scale weighing, and metallurgical testing across the world, as individuals from every background suddenly realize that an overlooked penny from 1986 with a tiny D mint mark could potentially change their lives. And this story has only just begun, because it's estimated that the majority of these rare error coins are still out there, undiscovered, sitting in old coffee cans, mint sets, bank rolls, or forgotten piggy banks waiting for the right person to spot that subtle doubling way that coin to find a copper planchet. Last 1979 1-cent USA coin. Today's episode takes you into the mysterious and stunningly valuable world of a coin you've likely handled countless times without a second thought. The 1979 1-cent coin, a penny that at first glance appears to be just another common coin from everyday circulation, struck by the millions and passed through countless hands over the decades. But deep beneath its coppery surface lies a story of hidden rarity, complex minting errors, fascinating anomalies, and the kind of unthinkable value that has placed certain specimens of the 1979 1-cent at an astronomical valuation of $650 million, an amount that makes it not only one of the most expensive coins ever conceived but also a symbol of how a humble coin, when touched by the forces of error, chance, and historical uniqueness, can become the stuff of legend and collector obsession. And what makes the 1979 penny so special isn't just that it's old, or copper, or nostalgic. It's that in a very small number of cases, the coin was struck with a combination of errors so rare, so unexpected, and so visually striking that their cumulative rarity has defied even the most conservative price estimates. And this value explosion is driven by an increasingly aware collector base, enhanced grading technologies, and an international market hungry for irreplaceable rarities that combine art, history, and mechanical imperfection in one circular package. So to fully understand the power and allure of the 1979 1-cent worth $650 million, we must dive deeply into every known error, production issue, anomaly, and possibility that has made this coin not just collectible, but historically and financially transformative, starting with the most obvious and well-documented class of mint errors, doubled dies, which in the case of the 1979 cent exist in extremely limited quantities where the obverse, particularly the word liberty, the phrase "I in God we trust," and the date 1979 show clear, rounded, hub doubling that is immediately identifiable under magnification and in some cases even by the naked eye. And these are not machine doubling or die deterioration doubling, which can be common and are generally of limited value, but true doubled dies that occur during the die production process when a working die received two misaligned impressions from the hub. And when this happens, all coins struck by that die carry the doubling, making them a true mint error and highly desirable by collectors. And while a double die penny in any year can command serious attention, the 1979 double die is exceptionally rare, with fewer than a dozen known high-grade examples certified by major grading services. And what makes it even more valuable is when that doubling is paired with other errors on the same coin, such as off-center strikes where the coin was struck while not properly aligned within the striking chamber, resulting in a portion of the design being shifted or completely missing. And when a coin displays a strong double die and a dramatic off-center strike while maintaining a visible date and mint mark, the value multiplies drastically because such a combination is extraordinarily rare. And then we must also look at the phenomenon of off-metal strikes, which occur when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or metal composition. And while the 1979 penny should be composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, there are known cases where coins were struck on bronze planchets from foreign coins, experimental alloys, or even dime or nickel planchets, resulting in weight anomalies and surface colors that do not match the expected characteristics of a normal penny. And collectors have documented a small number of 1979 cents that weigh under 2.5 grams, suggesting a striking error on a foreign or experimental planchet. And when verified through precise weighing, metallurgical testing, and non-destructive XRF analysis, these coins have commanded incredible premiums, with one rumored example sold privately for over $8 million simply for its off-metal status. And when combined with a visible double die and other minting errors, that value could easily climb into nine-figure territory, which is exactly what has happened in the case of the most famous 1979 cent, now valued at $650 million. Because it not only has a bold double die obverse, but it was struck off-center, shows reverse die cracks that resemble lightning bolts through the Lincoln Memorial, and was struck on a transitional bronze alloy not used in standard U.S. coin production that year, making it a one-of-a-kind specimen that has never been matched or duplicated and is widely believed to be the product of an experimental test or a major mint mishap that occurred during a high-pressure production period, and this coin's uniqueness is compounded by its condition. Graded MS68 red by a leading grading service, meaning that it is not only error-rich, but also in a pristine, uncirculated state with full mint luster and minimal marks, and these kinds of perfect storm coins, high-grade, error-stacked, and historically significant, are the holy grail for elite collectors, especially those who specialize in Lincoln cents or modern errors. And it's not just that collectors love these coins, but that institutions, hedge funds, museums, and even private investors now see them as long-term alternative assets with huge upside potential, and this fuels an already aggressive auction market where coins once thought to be worth a few $1,000s can suddenly surge in price due to a bidding war, provenance from a legendary collection, or the revelation of a previously unknown die pairing or compositional error. And speaking of die pairings, another reason the 1979 penny has become such a hotspot for investigation is the discovery of mismatched dies. Coins that were struck using obverse and reverse dies that were never meant to be used together, often due to errors during die installation or emergency replacements on the mint floor. And while mismatched die pairings are difficult to confirm, the discovery of such pairings on known 1979 cent errors has created an additional layer of collectability, especially for specialists who track die variety and die state progressions. And one coin in particular is said to feature an obverse from a late-stage worn die showing heavy flow lines and a reverse from an early die state with sharp, crisp details, which not only makes the coin visually dramatic but provides tangible evidence of production inconsistencies that add to its story and value. And then there's the class of errors known as struck-throughs, where foreign debris such as grease, string, wire, or even cloth is trapped between the die and the planchet during striking, resulting in coins that show missing details, ghost images, or strange textures. And when these struck-through errors occur over major features like Lincoln's face or the Memorial, they can transform an otherwise ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind mint anomaly, and some of the most dramatic struck-through errors on 1979 pennies feature impressions that span the entire obverse or reverse and have been authenticated and certified with clear photographic evidence, making them not just rare but irreplaceable, and in cases where the struck-through is combined with doubling, die cracks, or plating irregularities, the coins become multi-error hybrids with enormous market value. And yet another form of error that affects 1979 cents involves die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving faint mirror images of one side's design imprinted onto the other. And when these clashed dies are not replaced immediately, dozens or even hundreds of clashed coins can enter circulation. And certain 1979 clashed die varieties show partial outlines of Lincoln's bust within the Memorial or segments of the Memorial on Lincoln's shoulder, and these spectacular and eerie errors have become collector favorites, especially when found in high grades or with other accompanying flaws. And adding further value are examples of retained cuts, die breaks, and rim trim cracks that appear in bold relief on certain 1979 cents, creating dramatic visual anomalies that suggest the coin was struck during a catastrophic die failure or final moments of die life. And in these cases, the coin becomes not only a financial asset but also a physical artifact that tells the story of the minting process itself and the chaos that sometimes occurred behind the scenes. And as collectors begin to seek out ever rarer and more extreme examples of these flaws, the competition has intensified and the premiums have soared. particularly for coins with clean provenance, full red luster, minimal contact marks, and a full complement of error features. And with modern grading and imaging technology now making it easier than ever to authenticate and verify these anomalies, new discoveries continue to be made, and every time a new error type is discovered or a previously unknown variety is confirmed, the market recalibrates and prices for related coins spike upward. And this is exactly what has happened with the 1979 1 cent worth $650 million. A coin that combines multiple world-class minting errors in a pristine state and has passed through only a few elite collectors, each of whom has ensured and guarded it with the knowledge that they are holding not just a coin, but one of the greatest minting mysteries and investment-grade rarities ever discovered. And while most 1979 pennies will never be worth more than face value, the story of this coin teaches us to always be curious, to always look twice, and to remember that even in something as ordinary as a penny lies the possibility of history fortune. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy hunting.